Welcome back to the channel, guys. So for us here in the Midwest, the camping season has ended. It's time to park this thing to where it's going to sit for next few months. One important thing that we need to do is winterize the camper. Reason for doing that, so nothing freezes and breaks. So one of the first thing I usually do on this Keystone camper, the hot water tank is in the back here. So I have the cover open. So once I open the cover, now this thing's been sitting. So there's no hot water. That's been off for a few days. So everything should be nice and cool. I flip the relief valve. There will be some water that comes out of there, and I've already done that. And there is a drain on the hot water tank here, which will usually have a plug like this. This one's plastic. They can be metal. So once you open that plug, that will drain your hot water tank. So all the water that's in the tank itself will drain from there. So that'll empty that out. Now another thing we need to do is our holding tank, or water holding tank. There are some caps. I've loosened both of them so we could drain that water. And on this particular camper, there is also one here in the front that's also been drained. That's right by the water hookup. So all our tanks are drained. So there's no water in the system anywhere. Here's a simple tool I want to show you I made with something just I had laying around. This will help flush that the camper, all the water system on it, the tanks and all that. I got a couple different ones here. This one I don't really use. This one obviously is a smaller one that I like using. It's just a 1/2-inch valve with some bushings, some reducers, so where we can hook up the air line to the back of it. It's just a quick connect in the back and a bushing to fit where your inlet is on your camper. And I'll show you how to do this, to use this tool and to flush the camper. I have our flush tool hooked up to our water connection, and I have an air line connected to that. So all we need to do now, obviously we have all the drain plugs on, all the lines off. We'll go ahead and blast it with a little bit of air. You don't need to go full blast. And you can see that's pushing the air throughout the whole system. So with giving this a few blasts of air, that will completely flush the system out of any traces of water so it doesn't freeze. Again, I'm connecting this to the inlet of the water. I was able to blast the air through the system with all the drain caps off. That'll take out all traces of water in the complete system and flush the complete system out, so there's no water in there to be frozen. Now in my case, I do have an air line long enough to reach that. If you don't, you can always use an air charge tank kind of like this and give it a couple blasts of air to get all the water out of the system. That works just as well. And I'll put some of this stuff in the description for you in the links. Otherwise, stuff like this you can pick up at any regular hardware store. But again, I will leave some links. So once you have all your outside lines draining, all the caps off, obviously you want to go ahead and open up all the faucets, including the kitchen and the bathroom itself. Next thing you want to do is all your sinks. Again, the kitchen and the bathroom. There's a P-trap under the sink. You want to go ahead and remove that P-trap. Obviously there's water trapped in here. You want to go ahead and take that off. You want to have some kind of a bucket to go ahead and drain that. You can put that back or leave it on once you drain all the water out of it. Again, the whole point is to get the water out of the whole system so nothing freezes. So we'll go ahead and take the P-trap off. It's fairly easy on this. It's just like your home. You're going to spin everything off, this end, that end. Again, the water will be trapped in here. I'll go ahead and take that off and drain it out. So I have the P-trap loosened up from the kitchen sink. We'll go ahead and remove that. And as you can see, it is full of water. That's the water you don't want there. So we'll go ahead and remove. Let me go ahead and drain that water from the P-trap. Now again, you can leave it off until next season. There's really no reason to. We'll go ahead and stick everything back on, and we'll do the same thing with the bathroom sink. Here's your bathroom sink, and that'll have just about the same setup with the P-trap under the sink. We'll go ahead and loosen that up and also drain that out. You don't really need any tools. It's all hand tightened. So we got that loose. Again, full of water. You want to have a bucket. Let's go ahead and empty that out best we can. You could always air dry this too. And we'll put that back on just like the kitchen sink. Now there is one more P-trap, which is under your bathtub. Unfortunately, there's no easy access to that. And I'll show you what to do with that. Now some of them aren't that easily accessible. This one does have an access to it on the side here. But still, I'd rather not access it if I don't have to. The easiest way to deal with that is I have some RV antifreeze. I'm just going to go ahead. I got a couple cups of it in here. I'll go ahead and pour that down the drain here to fill that P-trap. Again, being antifreeze, this will not freeze. So that will keep that P-trap safe. Again, you just need enough to fill that P-trap. That's all you need. I will leave some links for the RV antifreeze in the description also. So that will take care of that P-trap. Now all the other ones, if you feel you do not want to take them apart, you can also do the same with those also, being in the kitchen or the bathroom here. You can always pour some antifreeze down those P-traps and leave that in there instead of the water. That will freeze. So that's how you take care of the P-traps. At this point I have everything buttoned up. All my drain plugs are back on. All the tanks are drained. We've forced air through the system, so all the remnants of water is completely out of the system. There's nothing to freeze inside. The P-traps are all drained. Or we'll put antifreeze in the shower P-trap. Now another important thing you might want to do if the camper is not going to be plugged in while it's sitting, you do want to take the battery out. In this case, my battery on this particular camper is in the front here, but I'm planning on leaving this plugged in and check on it once in a while throughout the winter, so I will leave my battery in. But if you're not going to have the camper plugged in, which is what charges the battery for the system, I would shut all the breakers off and pull the battery and put it inside where it's not going to freeze. Otherwise it will lose its charge over time. And if it's cold enough, the battery will freeze, so next season you will be replacing the battery. Now again, at this time, all the winterization to this camper is complete. I have the tire covers on, so this camper here is ready to sit for the winter throughout the freezing weather while it's not being used. Now, you do want to go through your storage compartments, make sure there's nothing in there that's going to freeze, and pull that out for the season. But otherwise it's ready and winterize. I thank you for watching.